Croydon Act, welcome to the brave new world. I've put that on because people keep saying that to me, welcome to the brave new world. I'm not quite sure what that means, but when we first started there was this whole thing around positioning. So I put in there a little alien and a human being, and that will be significant at the end. The context of this presentation is about what Croydon is doing next, and we've completed. You can tell I'm really good with technology as well. One of the things that we learned about on the course that Bodhikari and I did was around positioning, and there was a big issue for us around who were we sitting around the table in our partnership, and that was quite interesting. And what were our priorities? And clearly they may have been different for some of the people around the table. So who were we? We, or who are we in fact? We're a joint partnership. It's unusual in Wave 2 because we had a huge or a greater number of voluntary sector, third sector partners, and that's proved quite interesting. And I'm really interested in what's going to happen with Wave 3 because I think there are many more. And it was an exploration for us to look at each other's services and say, what is it? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? So it's been an excellent opportunity. Those of you that run the managers course with us will recognise those 5 key priorities. It was a piece of work that we were charged to do. And it was actually very helpful because we went back to our partnership as part of our course and we set about a task of finding out what were the priorities for everyone on the steering group and the network group.
So we sent out all the suggestions of what might be our priorities and challenges to everybody who was involved, not just the trainees in CYPI out on the various courses, but stakeholders, commissioners in the local authority, and to get some feedback of what we thought were important, because there were so many things that were important. We needed to choose what to focus on. So part of what the decision had been initially was to spend some of our funding for extra training. So we had extra managers on the course, extra as it were. So it was suggested that there be one manager from each partnership. And I think this has been really important to us, been really key. It's hard to imagine how one manager could have overseen, had the time to oversee, and could have understood so many very different services and implemented CYPI in services that run so differently. So these are the few how many people came from our 4 organisations in terms of trainees, supervisors, 4 supervisors and 4 therapists in 2 different types of disciplines in family therapy and CBT. So we looked at these potential priorities that had been selected with a wide range of people, first in our networks with all the people involved in CYPI directly, and then more widely with all the staff in different organisations, at least they were invited. But there was a wider representation, I think particularly from CAMS, who also had a much bigger staff group probably. So this long list is what we came up to with was important. This was still a much shorter list than what we started off with. But something about time, and I think that's really key for all of us, the time to develop CYPI. The understanding of the eventual aims, where do we want to get to create a smart approach to service delivery, to utilise our very different types of practices and settings to deliver common quality, and to share different practices, and the willingness for everybody to participate in it. And of course that we have the voluntary and statutory sectors have somewhat different organisational cultures and how to fit this together. And we were worried about bureaucracy for young people in terms of outcome measures, and to get everybody involved. So
Okay, so because of the differences, we kind of, having done the workshops, one of the other ways that we've actually helped to find out about each other is we've held 2 away days, and they've been really beneficial. I think we've come to learn that we are not aliens and humans amongst us. We're actually all humans, and we're all really committed to what we're doing. There is a difference. I need to be honest. I think there is a difference in positioning around who is still converted to CYPI Act, who is completely on board with it, and who isn't. And the away days have certainly helped with some of getting rid of some of those myths. The big long list that we just saw has been now, I mean, obviously we've got lots of tasks still to do, but one of our key things that we'd like to tackle next is the implementation of our youth participation strategy, and also finalising challenges around IT, which Bodhikari will talk about in a minute. The youth strategy, within Croydon, our agencies in particular have got a very strong, lengthy history of engaging young people and having young people all through the service, through governance, down to working, volunteering and being peer mentors. So some of that has already spread into the sort of the CAMS way of thinking, and we are very fortunate to have a new colleague who's involved with the network now who will be driving that process forward. So that's a real positive.
Okay, so the 2 voluntary organisations that we represent are in the process of building a new database, a sort of all singing, all dancing database that we hope will feed into the national outcomes more directly, because we're still getting our head around things like tablets and so on, and it won't come. We're hoping that something will really come on tap from the 1st of April. Before that, we're collecting things on paper still. We have a great wish, I think, in the voluntary sector, more particularly maybe in our 2 organisations, that Core 10 and YP Core is going to become accepted as IAP measures. We heard from good sources who are working directly on this that they may very well be possible, and that would make life a lot easier for us because it's a social measure, and also because we're hoping to take part in a study which is going to use Core 10 and YP Core to prove the effectiveness of youth counselling. So then we could do everything we want to do with one measure, so that would be great.
Okay, I've just got a couple of slides on challenges, obstacles and strengths, and just maybe you get these out so it might be useful to have a look at them. One of the things that we wanted to look at, and we have done in our partnership, is to have a session around deconstructing language. For those of us that work with young people, we think that's quite important. And on our last day of our course, it was really nice when our manager from CAMS actually said that she understood the importance now of using the word young person, not patient. Now that might be something very small to some of you, but I think it feels quite a big move in the right direction for us. Right, I'll just whiz on to the end, and we've got this. And what the graphic is meant to be saying that we're now together on this. There will be differences. We've actually got some great people around us. Our relationships have improved, and we'll wait and see what comes in the next year.